So now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to play Hebrew Israelite Jeopardy with Vocab Malone. Woo! Na 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 na. Hey, good. Give yourselves a hand. If you're gonna go all in, might as well go all in, right? So here's what we got. You guys with that? Yeah. However, unless you say, I'll take the category with the amount, I will not answer your question. I will literally go to the next person. You have to say it. So if you're a prideful person and just don't want, I'm sorry. You can be Philadelphia serious all you want, but I'm from Phoenix. So here's our categories. Now what I'm going to do is define them so we understand how it goes. First category is Hebrew identity. These are passages that the Hebrew Israelites would utilize to prove whatever people group under discussion are synonymous or equivalent to Hebrews. Those are those. Now, there's more than 4. But here's why I'm doing this in all seriousness. I want to teach you some of the categories of scriptures they use. Then you'll realize, okay, here's the claim that's being made. Here's some template ways to debunk the claim. So even though it looks silly, there's a reason why we're doing this, because I want you to repeat these categories, learn these categories. Secondly, passages that claim some kind of exclusivity as far as relationship with God for Israel and Israel alone, right? That's what those passages are. Esoteric. Esoteric means obscure, unlikely, mysterious, disclosed, hidden, that kind of thing. These are esoteric interpretations. What that means is these are interpretations of Scripture that are peculiar and specific to this group, that are highly idiosyncratic to them. And you'll see what I mean as we get into this. They're very specific, peculiar, particular. And so there's a number of those we'll look at. Seen before. Actually, there's a typo there. The category is going to be called heard before. So it's I've heard this before. So these are interpretations that are actually borrowed from other religions. And what I want to show you is, even though there's not a lot of resources on the Hebrew Israelites, some of the stuff they use is essentially a puffy remix, right? Just add a symbol, you're good. So some of these you'll see, oh, these are borrowed from the J-Dubs or the Muslims. And what I got to do is find the resources on that, then I can essentially debunk this as well. All right. So I'm going to put it back on the main screen here. There's the main screen. And let's start the game. Just raise your hand. That's all you got to do. Yes, ma'am.
I'll take Hebrew Identity 200.
Hebrew Identity 200. This is fun. Genesis 49:27. Genesis 49:27. If you have a Bible, you could totally go along, because all we're going to be doing the whole class is looking at Bible passages. And it's a great time for you to write little notes in there. If that doesn't violate your convictions, something like that. You know, it's a great time to flip around and see where these things are yourself. I know someone's got it digitally. I know someone's taking pictures, video. That's cool. But it's a great time to do it. So I'll just say that while we go to this, I'm trying to give you a little bit of time to turn there. Context of the passage. Blessing to the sons, right? They're all united because of what happened with the Lord and Joseph. And he lays his hand and says, hey, here's what I know about you, and here's what's going to be your kind of prophetic future in a way. In relationship to his 12 sons being Israel, right? At this time called Israel. And so here's one that's going to be used that's going to blow your mind, I think. One West Hebrew Israelites. These are the guys usually on the street. One Westers are sometimes called the militant ones or something like that. In fact, there's some One West Hebrew Israelites outside the conference. I don't know if you saw them. They are called Sakari. Sakari's outside of the conference right now. And if you want to talk to some One Westers, have at it. This is something they would actually use. So remember the context. Here's the way I've heard this presented. Wait, I gotta finish explaining it. It's a little tricky. One Westers have something called the 12 tribes chart. The 12 tribes chart takes the 12 tribes of Israel, matches them up with modern day people groups. I'll be specific according to this one. Benjamites, tribe of Benjamin, are actually Jamaicans and the brothers from the West Indies. Oh, don't laugh. You don't think God could predict or prophesy that? Well, did you know that the Bible predicts reggae music? Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. Now, if you look at other translations, it'll say Benjamin's a ravenous wolf. But here's where it goes. What does a wolf do? Go ahead. What does a wolf do? He howls, right? Well, you got to have a mind to understand this is spiritual right here, because clearly Benjamin's not a wolf, right? Everyone understands that he's not literally a wolf. He's not Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf, right? He's not literally, you know what I'm saying? So this must mean his characteristics are like that of a wolf. He howls. You howl in accordance to some prey you're going to get. Well, if anybody knows about reggae music, they do something called chanting down. So nobody does it. Chanting down Babylon. That means you sing songs against the wicked system, right? This is what this is saying. We all know those Benjamite brothers sing their songs, and they're always about bringing down Babylon. It's like a wolf howling. And so this is one of the ways we know that the tribe of Benjamin are the Jamaicans. And if you think I'm joking, there's a debate with an ISUPK member, and where he literally says, this is a quote, "We all know Paul was a Jamaican." All right? Because tribe of Benjamin, right? So he's a Jamaican. And so this is an example where they take a passage to try to equate. Now, in this example, not just a Hebrew identity, but a specific tribe identity. So if your father is indigenous to Jamaica, Benjamite. So guys, is Bob Marley a Benjamite? Who's his dad? Who's his dad? His dad was a white man. Did you know that? So guess what? Bob Marley's not a Benjamite. Just like Esau, to make our most beloved singer, not even one of us. Because his father was a white man. So Bob Marley is not a Benjamite. In fact, Bob Marley is going to be serving us in the kingdom. Because that's what non-Israelites do. They serve us in the kingdom. According to a One West interpretation. So, how would you respond to this? I just gave you the proof of what it is. Well, not the Bob Marley part. That someone says this proves Jamaicans are Benjamites. How would you respond? Let's walk through this. Who is making the claim here? Who's making the claim? Right? What is their claim? Let's label it. What's the claim? Shout it out. What's the claim they're making? You got to understand the claim, or else you can't refute it. What do you say? Jamaicans are Benjamites. Right. Jamaicans are Benjamites, right? That's their claim. What is their evidence they gave? And we're not saying it's good evidence. Evidence just means, yeah, this is the verse they gave, okay? So they made the claim. It's on them to prove their claim, right? So you could put any interpretation on this, but the question is why? For example, no, actually, I believe British and the Europeans are the true Israelites. And this refers to yodelers. I mean, haven't you heard yodeling? Doesn't it sound kind of like, right? How do we know that's not the right interpretation? We don't, because we're playing games. We are randomly assigning an ethnic group based upon some kind of perceived feature or characteristic, but we have no business doing that. So this is an instance where they need to do the work. Now, they actually have some other ways they try to explain the rest of this. I forget all the ways they do it. I'm just focusing right here on the wolf part. That's why if you see a Hebrew Israelite rocking some wolf gear, I'm not kidding, or have wolf imagery, it's almost guaranteed he thinks that what he is a Benjamite. You'll see it if you start to notice it. You'll start to, oh, this guy thinks he's a Benjamite, because you'll recognize the wolf symbolism. This is one where what you could do is give a counter example and say, how do I know it's not Europeans who yodel? How do we know that? Now, I know the kind of stuff they'll say, but this is an example where it's on them to prove the claim if that's what they're saying it is. Because where's the basis in the text that that's what it means? Is this what this is intended to do, to predict reggae? Is that really what we think is happening? He's like, by the way, you'll be the progenitor of reggae music. That's what's happening there in Genesis 49. And also, that interpretation has no basis. It's not like this was said by anyone prior to this. You know what I'm saying? And you can see how capricious it is. What does the wolf do? How? But actually, is how mentioned in here? Is anything about the wolf's vocals? Well, there's nothing about the wolf's vocals in here. Ravenous, if you look at modern interpretations, say ravenous, has to do with him having an appetite, being hungry. So he's destroying some enemies. That makes sense of the next line. He's ravenous, a hungry wolf. He's going to destroy his enemies. Then he'll divide it amongst himself. So this has to do something with the military prowess of Benjamin. Do you see what I'm saying? The ferocity. The ravenous wolf is a hungry wolf, not a singing wolf. But this is what we need to do. Now, you may say, well, that's silly. Yeah, you picked a silly one, but some of these are going to be silly. Others will be more difficult to deal with, right? They're kind of in order. But it's important to walk through this. You say, okay, what's the claim? Who needs to put out the evidence for the claim? That was great, though. All right, next one.